know who else could probably testify to the freak-offs with Diddy?
Just wasn't a good relationship for me. It didn't have so much to do with him as it had to do with me at the time. I had to learn to care about myself a little bit more and put up certain boundaries of what I would accept and wouldn't accept.
All Jennifer Lopez had to do was marry a white boy, Oscar winner, for people to stop remembering that she had a gun in her pocketbook. She had gunshot residue on her hands the night that Natanya was shot.
Jennifer Lopez is now officially part of the legal case involving Diddy, not as an outsider watching from afar, but as someone who may have played a role in helping him manage his entire inner circle. Recently uncovered nightclub footage has brought her back into the spotlight, and she's now being called to speak under oath in the RICO investigation. The situation is turning serious for her, and things aren't looking great at all. This new development doesn't match what Jennifer has said in the past. Years ago, when she was asked about why she broke up with Diddy, she gave a vague answer and said it ended with a bang. At the time, it seemed like a dramatic but harmless comment. Now, in light of what's happening, that bang might have had a much deeper meaning than anyone thought. Diddy's case is still unfolding, and one of the key people testifying is Cassie Ventura. She's been revealing shocking details, one after another, that have completely changed how people see this case. Cassie has explained everything clearly, from the flow of money to the questionable actions behind the scenes. And now, Jennifer's name is back in the conversation, but not as a target or someone who got hurt, as she once claimed. New information suggests Jennifer wasn't just nearby while all this was happening. She may have been actively involved in the middle of everything. Honestly, this might not come as a shock to some, since her name has been circling around this controversy for a while. Although she's stayed quiet publicly, the evidence is starting to speak for itself, and the truth may be far messier than anyone expected.
For all we know, that bullet came from the gun that was in her hand, and not once has she spoken up for the betterment of that woman. Not once has she donated to her family or for her medical bills that she's still paying, or say something in her defense to stop Puffy from gaslighting her.
Do you remember Nada? Yes, the same woman from that 1999 nightclub incident who was shot, but somehow made it out alive. Unlike many others connected to the case who have vanished or stayed silent, she's still here. And now, she's talking. For years, rumors floated around, but now it's being said directly. Jennifer Lopez was the one who allegedly brought the gun into the club that night and handed it to Diddy. Yes, that's what's being claimed. On top of that, she's also believed to have thrown the weapon away when everything started to fall apart. That means Jennifer wasn't just present. She may have played an active role in covering things up. Law enforcement, club workers, and even some witnesses were supposedly paid off, and Jennifer turned a blind eye. She didn't say anything back then. She hasn't said anything since. And now? Still silence. But that silence won't last much longer. A subpoena is reportedly on the way, and once it lands, she'll have no choice but to speak under oath. This isn't about survival anymore. It looks more like planned silence. She's stayed quiet for so long, possibly hoping her name wouldn't come up. But with federal agents collecting more evidence and new people speaking out every day, it's only a matter of time before Jennifer Lopez is standing in court, swearing to tell the truth. Before diving deeper into J-Lo's part, let's look at Cassie. Her story shows strange similarities. She once said Diddy made her hold his arm when entering clubs, something fans often saw J-Lo doing back in the day. Yet Jennifer never said it made her uncomfortable, or that she was forced. If she truly was a victim, why has she never said a word? Cassie, on the other hand, has come forward with everything, even the moments that might make her look guilty. She's been honest about what she went through and why she did certain things. In that world of fame, fashion, and music, it's easy to confuse control for love or loyalty. But what Cassie describes sounds more like entrapment. Jennifer Lopez was never trapped like that. Cassie wasn't just dating Diddy. She signed a 10-album deal with him through Bad Boy Records. Out of those 10, only one album was ever released. Think about that. It wasn't just a music contract. It was a way to control her. Nada, the same survivor from 1999, has said for years that these contracts are traps. They're not about art. They're about ownership. And once you're in, it's almost impossible to escape without losing everything. Cassie tried to leave multiple times. Each time she was found and punished. The abuse wasn't just emotional or physical. It was professional. Diddy didn't just control her life. He controlled her future, her earnings, and her freedom. This wasn't love. It was manipulation and business power used to keep someone locked in a toxic, dangerous world. And for anyone still wondering why Cassie didn't just walk away, the truth is she couldn't.
Those who like to stupidly comment, well, why didn't she leave? She said she didn't have the resources and she didn't feel safe to do so. In her own words, I understood Sean's capabilities, his access to guns, and the threats that he made prior to that.
Cassie opened up about how truly dangerous Diddy was. She said she knew just how much power he held and the kind of weapons he kept around. He had a way of making things disappear and escaping punishment, no matter how serious. She witnessed it more than once. Diddy allegedly pointed guns at her and made threats against her loved ones. When police finally raided his Miami mansion, what they found shocked everyone. Firearms, sharp heels, adult items, and other things that were later shown in disturbing images during court. So when Cassie says she feared for her life and her family's safety if she ever tried to leave, that wasn't just her being scared, it was real. Picture being stuck in a world where one wrong move could put your mom or siblings in danger. People often wonder why victims don't just walk away, but when someone has money, influence, and people in every corner, escaping isn't simple. It's not just about being trapped physically. There are mental and emotional chains too. That's what people mean when they talk about Stockholm Syndrome, and Diddy made sure Cassie looked like she had it all. Fancy events, flashy outfits, red carpets, it all made her seem like she was living the perfect life. So who would have believed she was being hurt behind closed doors? Even now, some still think she's lying, saying she's just out for revenge or money. That's despite the leaked footage showing him assaulting her. Now, here's where things get serious. This isn't just about a toxic relationship. The government isn't coming after Diddy just for being a bad boyfriend. This is about RICO, laws, meant to catch people who hide criminal behavior behind real businesses. Diddy's empire spans music, alcohol, fashion, and more. But if even one part of it was used for illegal activity, the entire structure could fall. That's why he's in big trouble, and so is anyone who helped keep the truth buried.
We've only had 1 week so far of testimony in P. Diddy's case, and I see a lot of comments online where people are jumping to conclusions that Diddy's going to be acquitted and the government isn't going to be able to prove their case. They're focusing too much on the DV. Where is the RICO? Hold on, you guys, okay? This is expected to be a 6 to 8 week long trial.
Even though the trial is still happening, the legal team doesn't need to spend much time showing that Diddy built a huge business empire. That's already clear to everyone. What matters now is figuring out what was really happening inside that empire. The focus is on the actions that may have taken place behind closed doors, hidden under all the fame and success. With RICO laws, it's not just about catching someone doing something illegal one time. It's about showing that the wrongdoing was part of a bigger setup, a whole system that allowed or protected criminal behavior. If just one part of the business was used to do something unlawful, then the entire structure can be brought into question. That's what makes this so serious. Once the illegal parts are revealed, everything connected to them, money, buildings, companies, even people, can be used as proof. The entire operation becomes part of the case. The goal is to show that the crime wasn't random or one mistake. It was built into the system. That's why this trial is so important. It's about uncovering how deep it all goes, and who else might have been involved in keeping that system running.
In order to prove RICO, And racketeering, the government has to establish that there was a pattern, okay? So they're not just hanging their whole case on Cassie's experience and Cassie's testimony. No, there's definitely more to come. And the reason why I'm so sure that there's a lot more to come is when it comes to federal prosecution, the feds don't play. They don't charge unless they know they're going to get you. Pretty much guaranteed. I can't remember exactly what their conviction rate is, but it's super high. It's nearly 100%, because the government really, really will take its time to build an ironclad case.
Now let's talk about Jennifer Lopez. To be clear, she hasn't been officially accused of anything at this time. However, the links between her and the situation are becoming harder to ignore. If more people come forward, either victims or witnesses, saying she was there during certain incidents or may have helped things happen, even if she didn't realize it at the time, things could take a serious turn. That's why her name is being mentioned again. Was she simply there as Diddy's girlfriend? Or was she connected to something much more serious happening behind the scenes? Years ago, it was already revealed that she was the one who brought the weapon into the club during the 1999 incident. That alone raises big questions. What else might she have seen? What more could she be keeping quiet about? These are the questions people are starting to ask. As more facts come out, it's becoming clear this wasn't just about fame or parties. There was a dark side to everything. The more the case unfolds, the more people wonder how deep her connection goes. Whether she meant to or not, Jennifer might have been closer to the truth than anyone realized.
He was afraid that maybe one day they would open the case and she still has the bullet fragments in her face, like J-Lo has said. Nothing. You really thought that just running off and marrying Ben Affleck was going to take you out of the Diddy downfall?
Right now, the big question everyone keeps asking is whether Diddy's involvement with Cassie made his legal situation worse. Could the fact that he was both her boyfriend and her boss at the same time be used against him in court? The answer is yes, it absolutely can. This case isn't just about a breakup or a failed romance. It's about abuse of power and forcing someone into harmful situations. Cassie wasn't just in a romantic relationship with him. She was also tied to him through a strict music contract. That agreement reportedly gave Diddy control over when and how she could release music. But it didn't stop there. According to statements, his control allegedly extended to her personal life too. He reportedly told her who to be with, where to go, and how to act. That's not love. That's manipulation. When someone has complete control over your career, money, and choices, you're not really free. If Cassie didn't do what he wanted, her whole future could be put on hold. That kind of pressure creates a trap. It's not just emotional. It's financial and psychological, too. In court, this matters a lot. It turns the story from a private relationship into a situation involving control, threats, and fear, which makes the charges much more serious.
Diddy to not only beat her, but stomp her in the face while she was on the floor of the Escalade. When they got to the house, she jumped out of the car and tried to run across the street, but Diddy's security caught up to her and brought her into the house.
Things get even more disturbing when you hear what's being claimed. At one point, Diddy allegedly harmed Cassie and then made her stay in a hotel room, just so he wouldn't have to face the aftermath of what he did. That alone shows he was aware his actions were wrong. But it doesn't stop there. In one especially troubling moment, Diddy is said to have shown up with his face mostly covered, wearing a bandana and a Yankees cap pulled low, so only his eyes were visible. The man involved in the situation didn't even recognize him at first. But when he started speaking and giving directions, his voice made it obvious who he was. That raises a huge red flag. Why hide your face if there's nothing to be ashamed of? Prosecutors are focusing on these moments. Being into certain lifestyles isn't illegal by itself, but when threats, violence, or pressure are involved, it crosses a legal line. No amount of fame or fortune can protect someone from that. As more evidence surfaces, people are starting to question why Jennifer Lopez has stayed silent. If she really was forced to bring a weapon into that nightclub years ago, she should have spoken up long before now. In fact, Cassie recently stated that Diddy often made women in his group carry things for him, knowing security usually didn't search them as closely. If J-Lo was part of that pattern, she wasn't just there, she was involved. And don't forget, when the shooting took place and police were chasing their car, reports say J-Lo threw the weapon out the window. Most people would be in prison for something like that. But she walked free. That's not a coincidence. That's the power of money and fame protecting her.
You had to be disturbed by a report in the New York paper yesterday.
Yeah.
It said an eyewitness along 8th Avenue as your car drove by saw a female hand throwing a gun out of the car.
I don't
You're the only female in the car. You don't want to talk about it? You very confident that Puffy will be found innocent in this trial?
Yes, I will.
You're going to testify?
If they need me.
But you haven't been asked yet.
I haven't been asked yet. So.
Let's turn the focus back to Diddy, because people are now remembering what went down during that old 1999 case. Back then, something strange happened. His legal team received the list of witnesses much earlier than they should have. What followed was suspicious. Several people who were supposed to testify suddenly didn't remember anything. People who had clear memories before suddenly acted confused or forgetful. It looked like the entire case was being manipulated from within. The rumors have always floated around that Diddy's side may have offered money to certain individuals so they would stay quiet or change their stories. Whether or not that can be proven, it left a bad impression and made many people believe that the legal system was being used in the wrong way. Now, with the new investigation in full swing, federal authorities aren't taking any chances. They've made sure that things are different this time. Unlike before, no one knows the full list of people who will testify. Diddy's lawyers are finding themselves surprised in court as new witnesses show up unannounced, one after another. This change in how the case is handled shows that the authorities believe witness tampering might have happened in the past. That's why they are keeping this case airtight. It also highlights the power Diddy had and how he may have used that power to protect himself. With these new steps in place, the legal team is trying to avoid the same mistakes and make sure everyone involved gets a fair shot at justice. And all of this just adds more weight to the RICO case he's now facing, where it's not just about one crime, but about a whole system that may have allowed illegal behavior to flourish under the cover of fame and fortune.
What the government is saying is that he didn't just commit crimes, he ran an entire enterprise that committed crimes. Bad Boy Records, for instance. And to prove that, the prosecutors have to show that there was a criminal enterprise, that crimes like trafficking, coercion, or money laundering happen regularly. Trying to blow up cars, right? And that Puffy didn't just help direct them, but he also may have benefited from them.
What once looked like random incidents in Diddy's wild past now appears to be part of something much more organized. Legal professionals and people who have come forward say this wasn't just a series of strange events. It was a whole operation. Everything seems to revolve around Diddy. Cassie, one of the key voices in the case, shared that these so-called sessions were not spontaneous. They were carefully arranged. There were cameras, instructions on what to do, even costumes, like filming a high-budget video. She was even told what to say and how to act. That doesn't sound like a party. It sounds like a script. And strangely, nearly every person who has stepped forward says the same thing. There's a pattern. Similar details. The way things were handled, the way people were controlled, it's all lining up. So now, the public wants to know, did J-Lo see any of this? Was she around when these things were happening? Or did she live through it too, but never said a word? There's an old video of Jennifer being asked about her breakup with Diddy. She pauses, looks around, then says, "It ended with a bang." A bang? That word feels loaded now, especially when you remember the club shooting from years ago. Was she referencing that chaos? Because if she was, it could add a new layer to the timeline and events. It's not impossible for someone like J-Lo to be called to court. Celebrities have been pulled into cases before after their names were mentioned. But let's be real. She's unlikely to volunteer herself. So far, she's stayed quiet. Too quiet. People are starting to notice. She was there when Diddy was rising. She was part of that world. There's even footage showing her close to moments of drama. Saying nothing now makes it seem like she's protecting her image, not the truth. And in a time when more women are bravely speaking out, J-Lo's silence feels less like fear and more like a decision to stay comfortable. That silence is starting to look calculated, and people are asking questions.
People sitting here screaming out at the toll that the atrocities that Sean Combs has done to their lives, and you're trying to avoid your part in the story or the fact that you never spoke up. You know, you want to tell people on the low and put it out there that the movie was about you getting away from Puffy, but you didn't think about the trail of girls that you left behind.
Another strange part of this entire situation is how Diddy's ex, the mother of one of his children, has been showing up to court looking calm, as if nothing serious is happening. But people close to the case say it's odd, because these women have gone through so much hurt because of him. It's confusing to see them show support or remain close, as if he still has control over them somehow. This isn't just based on guesses. There's proof. Take Misa Hilton, for example. She was once a top stylist in the fashion world, working with celebrities, but not too long ago she reportedly had nowhere to live and had to sleep in her car. Things got worse when the car went missing, either stolen or taken away. She had to start using public trains just to get around. And people were asking, why? Didn't Diddy step in to help her? It gets even more disturbing. One of Diddy's past bodyguards claimed that he saw Diddy physically attack Misa. The story goes that she was so scared, she ran and crawled under a car to hide from him. So why? Is she standing by him again now? That's the question everyone keeps asking.
You got to be real scared, man. That's crazy. I know it ain't funny, but it's crazy. He was beating her till she ran up under the car, man.
Whatever kind of pressure Jennifer Lopez is facing, it seems like she's caught in the same situation as others around Diddy. She appears to be under some kind of strong influence or control, and it's not a good sign. People are starting to notice that she's not speaking up or defending herself, which makes her silence feel suspicious. It looks like she might be holding back because she's scared, or because someone has a hold over her. This kind of quiet can mean she's stuck, in a difficult place, unable to break free or say what really happened. The more time passes without her explaining anything, the worse it looks for her. People wonder if she's protecting herself, or just trying to avoid trouble. Either way, staying silent in such a serious case isn't helping her image or clearing up any doubts. It only adds more questions about what she really knows or has been involved in.
What happens to Cassie if J-Lo had said something to Diddler back then? Would Cassie have ever been a victim? Answer me that. Because that situation happened in the late 90s. That situation happened before Aaliyah passed away, and Aaliyah passed away in 2001. He didn't get with Cassie until 2009, 15 years after he was with Jennifer. If she had to come forward about the that she suffered in a relationship with Sean Combs, Cassie would never have gone through what she's gone through. J-Lo being a stand bitch is Cassie not getting punted in a hallway.
I believe this situation goes beyond just Diddy and Cassie. It's about a bigger problem where powerful people act however they want because they think money protects them from consequences. Now that Jennifer Lopez's past is being examined closely, she might have more to explain than many expected. It seems like she may have been involved in different ways for a long time, and now it's time for everyone to face the truth and take responsibility. Cassie's story is important, and the signs are obvious. If more people's names come up, including Jennifer's, everyone will have to think carefully about who they support and what they choose to ignore. This case is revealing serious issues in the industry and how silence helps cover up bad behavior. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments.